very in depth so that I feel like all those things work, and we have to master the script and work on our business as much as we can, because then it becomes easy if we do that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That was nice. That was great, Brian. Good work. We're all very proud of you.
Yeah.
Very good. Absolutely. Okay.
It's really exciting.
Oh, I love it. Energy is contagious, right? So happy Monday, everybody. Mondays are my favorite day of the week. TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. It's a new beginning. And that's one of the reasons why I love Mondays. Also, August is one of these really cool months where technically you get 5 weeks to hit your goals. So if you're looking at your calendar, today is August the 16th, and we still have 2 weeks and 3 days left in August. So if you're on track, awesome. And if you're not on track, awesome. Get on track. If you've been a part of this call going back to March of last year, you recognize that I am home. I'm not in the office today. Hold on just one second, guys. Didn't really make a difference. Okay, whatever. That light is going to bother me. I'm going to try not to pay attention to it. So I'm working from home today. Monica, that's my wife, has some cold symptoms, has had since Friday, and taking precautions, doing the right thing, taking COVID tests and all of those things just to make sure that everything is good. And one more day working from home, making sure that nobody has COVID before I come into the office. So that's a good thing. So I'm working from home today. For those of you who are in the Coral Springs Market Center, clearly I'm not in the training room. And I hope that all of you who showed up in the training room found a computer and jumped on it, and you're a part of this call from the office, because I don't want you to miss a day. All right, let's get started. I am going to work from shift today. And before I do that, just make sure that you've always got a copy of your playbook with you, because we are all on a path to become millionaire real estate agents. And that means we're on a path to gross $1 million, net $1 million, receive $1 million, and then finally give away $1 million. Now, that said, I want to go back to a page that we visited a couple of weeks ago, and that's page 49. Tactic number 4, lead generation, find the motivated. The bottom of the page, Gary says, as leads become fewer, you must recognize the situation and make a more concerted effort to generate them. You must be more rigorous and resolute in your lead generation than ever before, and more so than anyone else. In other words, you're competing for the leads that are out there. You're competing for listings. I shared with you last week in Broward County, there were roughly 4,000 homes sold in the month of June, and there were roughly 3,100 sold in July. So we saw a decrease in the number of homes being sold by 900. That's a pretty big decrease. And you've got roughly 30,000 agents competing for those. Now, I'm going to say this again with that in mind. You must be more rigorous and resolute in your lead generation than ever before, and more so than anyone else. In fact, now is the time to shift your lead generation activities into their highest gear possible. Now, I'd like for a couple of you, just raise your digital hand and I'll call on you to offer, why do you think I'm sharing this with you? What's your aha? How long have I been talking to you about this? And what have you done? What are you doing different today that you weren't doing 2 weeks ago? Brian.
Okay, So I'm starting today because on Friday I had a conversation with Lee and I had a huge aha moment. He said, stop having so much motion and look at the accomplishment. So meaning stop saying, oh, I have to call 1,000 people to get one appointment. Instead, work on the people you have. Or something like that, he said. And what the aha to me was, if you have an expired list of, let's say, 30 people, the goal is to speak with all 30 people. So if you find a way to speak with all 30 people and you keep calling until you speak with them, or you go to their home, if you want to take it a step further, you go to their home in the afternoon because they haven't picked up after 3 times of you reaching out, and you door knock, you're going to speak with most of those people. And if you're speaking with most of those people and you know your scripts, there's no way you're not going to get more than the appointments you need to be successful.
Good job. Good job, Ryan. Very good. What's one thing that I can do that I'm not doing that would move me closer to my goal? What's one thing that I'm doing today that I wasn't doing 2 weeks ago that is moving me closer to my goal? I want one more person to share.
John, I've got a thought.
Talk to me, Michael.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Being better at our follow-up. I've seen over the last kind of 6 months or so, my follow-up game has gotten better. It's not where it needs to be, but it's definitely have gotten better. And I feel like I'm creating these longer lasting relationships.
Yeah, good job, Michael. Why do you think people get out of follow-up? By the way, if you're taking notes, write down follow-up is where success happens 100% of the time. It occurred to me when somebody was talking to me recently that they thought I was going on appointments with these for sale by owners and expireds and listing 10, 12, 15 homes a month, doing this by converting those appointments to listing appointments on site. And nothing could be further from the truth. On average, it took anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months on average to convert those to listing appointments that turned into listings. So why do you think we stopped following up? Michael, I'll go back to you. Since it was your aha, why do you think we stopped? Why did you?
Maybe it's a drunk monkey. Maybe we feel like, it's an effort that's not worth it, right? You call the same number 6 times and no one answers. You leave voicemails and don't get responses. So for me, I think my follow-up has become a little bit better because I'm setting myself some reminders. And even if I don't talk to them, I'll set up another follow-up call. And then sometimes you'll just catch them and then you'll be able to have a real conversation with them.
Nice work. Good job, Michael. So write this down. Focus on the activities and ignore the results. If I walk every day in order to lose weight and I get on the scale every day and after a week, nothing's happened. After 2 weeks, I actually gained a pound. I'm going to stop. Now, walking is the activity. Stepping on the scale is what I do to measure the results. If I walked every day and just didn't step on a scale, 6 months later, when I stepped on that scale, as long as my diet is in check, I'm not eating double cheeseburgers and chocolate shakes every day, although that sounds good. 6 months later, am I going to lose weight? Yeah, of course. I have lost weight by focusing on the activities and ignoring the results. Results show up. Just check on the activities, hit your standards. And that's true with follow-up as well. Good job, Michael. Larry Bush.
I think some of the challenge a little bit is having those conversations, particularly if they don't have to do with real estate. You know, you don't necessarily want to lead with real estate when you're doing like the care calls and those types of things, but coming up with something to say that's meaningful between the two of you. Even they were talking on the Pivot Shift call this morning of calling people, if you haven't even talked to them 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and making that reconnection and some of the hesitancy of to a certain extent of cold calling, or these people that you haven't talked to in maybe 2 or 3 years, or you're doing the D2, where you're saying, okay, I talked to him 3 months ago. What did I talk about last time? And what am I going to talk about this time, without necessarily leading with real estate? And being sincere about the call.
So a couple thoughts on that. Thanks, Larry. First of all, be sincere. Truly care about the people that you're speaking to, and then you don't have to worry about sounding sincere, right? Ford model of communication: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And someone asked a question, I believe it was on the Pivot Shift page, if anybody had a good script for the apology script, right? And Michael Mayer, who wrote 7 Levels of Communication, actually logged in and said, don't apologize. The best script is not to have one. And then what are you going to do? Start asking for referrals? It's clear to the person that you're speaking to why you're apologizing. And I agree with Michael Mayer, by the way. Now, reconnect and just start pouring into that person and bring value to every single conversation. And value. You are a local market expert. You are the local economist of choice. If you're going to talk real estate, talk about what's happening in the real estate market. Give them market updates. That's actually useful information. Talk about the fact that the average price in our market has increased by 15% year over year from a year ago. Talk about what the market has done over the last 10 years. Talk about long-term trends and what typically happens when a market outperforms the line of appreciation that we see over time. You can only get so far above that line before it acts like a magnet and starts pulling those prices back down. What goes up has to come down. If market values were to continue, do the math on this, guys. If market values were to continue to increase at an average of 10% per year over the next 10 years, a $300,000 home would sell for more than $700,000 10 years from now. That can't happen. It can't. The market won't sustain that. Talk about those things. Now, bring value after value after value after conversation. And Larry, if it's somebody that you haven't spoken to in a long time, you know, I would say that you're going to let 2-3 months go by, maybe longer, maybe longer before you ask for a referral. You have to earn that right. And you earn that right by pouring into them. Give more than you ask for. 3-to-1. If I can give you 3-to-1 value for the one that I'm going to ask, look at it like this. It's making deposits and making withdrawals. If you make a withdrawal on a checking account and there's no money in the bank, you're overdrawn. Well, the same thing is true with the relationships. If I make a withdrawal with you, Larry, and I haven't made any deposits, then I'm overdrawn with you. Now, if I'm depositing, and 6 months later, I say, hey, Larry, you know, just out of curiosity, you know, dude, if you knew somebody that would benefit from my training, if you knew of somebody that would benefit from joining Keller Williams, would you give me their contact information so I can give them a call and help you build your profit share? Script, by the way. Now, I've made lots of deposits, yes?
Yes.
And I'm finally making a withdrawal by asking you a favor. Now, do I have permission to make a withdrawal at that point?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I hope that made sense. Okay, give me a moment to check on the chat. Yeah, you're right, Lance. It would exceed affordability. Of course it would. That's why it can't happen. All right, skip to page 67. Still in Shift. Still on chapter 4, by the way. Skip to page 67. When leads become fewer, now if there are fewer homes being sold, then clearly there are fewer leads. If there's fewer listings being taken, then there clearly are fewer leads. When leads become fewer, prospecting increases. The research for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent showed that top agents use the marketing-based and prospecting-enhanced approach, but underline that about 4 times. Experience teaches us that a shifted market requires that you move more towards prospecting. Now, the question that I would ask you, write this down, answer it for yourself. How many more listings could you take if you talk to 10 for sale by owners every day? If you talk to 20 expired listings every day? If you circle prospected every day and you talk to 20 homeowners on circle prospecting calls every day, if you door knocked every day until you've talked to 20 people circle prospecting in a neighborhood, how many more listings could you take? Answer that question for yourself. And prospecting tends to uncover motivated leads faster and keeps you more in control. So let's talk about that faster. I'm a seller and I have a listing that just expired. Now, I'm angry. I'm probably frustrated. I probably, unless I absolutely have to sell my home, am going to take a break or give up. Now, a period of time goes by. Let's say it's 30 days, 2 months, 3 months, and I decide that I'm going to jump in and try again. In other words, I've hit that dotted line that I've shown you the graph on many, many times, and I start getting serious about selling my house again. Now I'm looking for a real estate agent, and I'm probably going to call whoever comes to mind, whoever holds top position for being the real estate agent that I would choose, or maybe I'm going to call somebody that I know, or maybe I'm going to respond to marketing or advertising, but I'm going to start looking for somebody to list my home. And if you were prospecting expired listings and you were calling all of those expired listings, and like Brian said, you were kept calling until you got somebody on the phone and you talked to them, and then you went to their home and looked at their home so that you could be face to face, and you start to create a relationship with them, and then you follow up systematically over time, rejection, continuing to call them, even if they say they're never going to hire you, you keep calling. Now it's 30 days, 2 months later, and they hit that spot where they're serious about selling their home again. You've uncovered that lead because you were making those calls. Everybody else, meaning all other real estate agents who are not making those calls, are waiting for an incoming call from that seller who says, hey, I'm serious about selling my home again. But because you're prospecting, you're going to uncover that lead before everybody else does. You guys get that? Okay. It's how in 2006, the Dietz team went from not even showing up on the top 100 real estate agents in our market that we were working. We were not even in the top 100. And within a year, we were in the top 10 because we were prospecting and we were finding people who needed to sell because we were making those calls. It was completely by accident. I wish I could tell you that it was a plan, but it wasn't. It was just the only thing I knew how to do. Nobody had ever said, hey, when the market shifts, this is really going to pay off. You're going to get a lot more listings. I didn't know any better. It was just the only way I knew how to work. Totally got lucky. Give me your ahas. Talk to me. What are you hearing?
John, I have a question.
Talk to me.
Just clarification. So,
Ryan, you're kind of muted. I don't know everybody else, but
you can hear me now?
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, got it. So I was wondering, you know how, like you said, like follow up with the expires as forever until they buy, or they list with you. So why would you ever want to work with a person who you like know? So like the way I see it is, let's say I have 1,000 people that I know, right? But I don't know who's wanting to sell their home today. And expired, I know that most of those people are in the market to sell their home either now or in the extremely near future, most of them. So why would I take time if I'm already building a relationship because I'm following up? Why would I take time and focus on people who I don't know if they want to sell their home today?
Well, I think it's both. And you want to build relationships with your database. You constantly want to be building that database because you're thinking long-term. And we know that by focusing on our database, we're going to build a steady stream of repeat and referral basis. So those relationships are important, Brian. You don't want to forget that. At the same time, if I have a home that was listed and the listing expired, I've raised my hand, just like a for sale by owner has raised their hand and said, hey, I want to sell my home. I mean, I've told you guys before, when you're driving around and you see a for sale by owner sign, it doesn't say for sale by owner, it says help wanted. And an expired listing says, I really need help because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. And I'm going to follow up with them forever, regardless of what they say, Brian. In all of the negative feedback they give me is just noise. Until they list their home or sell their home, there is nothing that they could do or say that's going to cause me to stop calling. Never call me again. Cool. Talk to you in 2 weeks. People will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. So I'm simply going to stay in touch until we've created an opportunity for them to make a new decision. But you've got a tremendous opportunity in front of you guys because you've got this group of people that need to sell their home. And I shared this last week. Less than 1% of your competition is doing this. 99% of your competition is succeeding in spite of what they're not doing well. Now, in good markets, they're succeeding because of what they're doing well, but they're also succeeding in spite of the things that they don't do well. And bad markets, this is Gary Keller's words, not mine, so don't get mad at me. Bad markets, shifting markets, markets of less, expose the frauds. In other words, we're going to find out who's not succeeding when, no, I'm saying that wrong. We're going to find out who was succeeding in spite of what they were doing wrong. This is a tremendous opportunity for you. If there's less than 1% of the real estate agents that you compete with that do this, and less than half of them follow up forever, that's what Michael was referencing. I can make those calls. I can even go on those appointments, but without follow-up, it's like baking a cake with half the ingredients. It's going to taste pretty lousy. Prospecting tends to uncover motivated leads faster and keeps you more in control. So I'm going to close with a story. So Linda McKissick, bottom of page 67, she shares this quote. My real estate business took off when I realized I had to ask for business and not be attached to the answer. First of all, let's break that down into two parts. Ask for business. There is a difference between lead generating and lead receiving. So there's a lot of real estate agents who think they're doing business by referral. They'll even tell you, I'm doing business by referral. Life is good. And if you ask them, how did you get the referral? Well, I had a friend call me and they told me they knew somebody who was interested in selling their home. That's awesome. And it's not lead generation. You simply answered the phone. That's lead receiving. Lead receiving works in a hot market. It doesn't work when things start to cool off. Lead generation is calling the D2D, whatever it is, and having conversations and making deposits and occasionally making a withdrawal and asking, hey, just out of curiosity, who do you know that's thinking of buying a home? Who do you know that's thinking of selling their home? That's lead generation. And then the person says, wow, I can't believe you called. My friend who lives next door was actually just talking about selling their house. Here's their information. That's lead generation. Now, there's a lot of real estate agents who think they're doing business by referral who are actually in the business of lead receiving and not lead generation. And how do I know? Because I talk to them and I'll ask them, hey, what database are you using? You know what they do? They show me their phone. This is my database. Okay, cool. What systems are you using to communicate with everyone who lives in your database? I just kind of call them occasionally and I talk to them and we talk on Face Chat and all that other kind of stuff. And in other words, they don't have systems. It's called lead receiving, not lead generation. So you have an incredible opportunity here to, I'm going to go back to page 49. You have an incredible opportunity to be more rigorous and resolute in your lead generation than ever before, and more so than anyone else. Do you want a plan to be more resolute, to be more rigorous, to outwork your competition? When I say outwork, I'm not talking about effort or time. I'm talking about being smart. To outwork your competition, just follow everything I shared with you today. All right, give me some ahas and we're going to jump.
I think it's kind of like you had said earlier, John, that the last time we had that big recession, 08, 09, and 10, what NAR said, they lost almost 50% of the agents. And those are the people that were referral receivers.
Yep.
And they're not the ones that are doing the prospecting. And I think without a doubt, I mean, I love your analogy when Domino's drops the pizza off and you come up, you know, with a third of the number of pizzas that were expected, and you still want to get your 4 slices.
Yep.
Maybe 5, depending on your weight situation. But that's the formula, the secret for success. And you know what? It's not a secret. You just got to do it.
There you go, Larry. Good job.
You just got to do it.
Raina, he's a smart man.
Somebody said something about outkicking
Yes,
their coverage.
Yeah, you outkick the coverage. You
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You are bad.
Oh my goodness. All right, one more. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'll jump in since there was such a big silence, and it's, you know, I'm saying it's an aha, but it's a repeat of, you know, a message that comes all the time, which is a follow-up, because, you know, while you were talking, I had specific people in mind that I've been trying to reach. It was a FSBO, and I spoke to him at first, and then he stopped answering the phone, wouldn't text back. And I was calling every week, and then I stopped a few weeks ago. He never sold his house. It came off the market, and, you know, and he wasn't the nicest person either, but, you know, hearing you today is like renewed enthusiasm and confidence, because, you know, it kind of, you know, lowers my spirit when I'm not getting good feedback or, you know, positive responses. And it kind of renews the vigor in my spirit to just keep calling and eventually I can win the listing. It's still in play. It's still in play. It's not a lost cause.
Good job. I love it. Yeah, good job, Paige. I'm proud of you. So some of us, there's so many excuses for not following up, true? And one of them is, I don't know what to say. Holy cow. Okay. How about, hey, this is Larry Bush with Keller Williams Realty, just checking in to see how you are and what can I do for you today? What's wrong with that? It doesn't have to be super complicated, right? Listen, you guys, if you haven't heard of, read about, seen a movie that involved the process of mining for gold, just get a visual of these old timers in the river with that thing they shake, and they fill it up with rocks, and then they shake it and they go sifting through it, and they're looking for what?
Nuggets.
Gold nuggets. They're looking for gold nuggets, Larry. And they're pulling out and throwing away all of the rocks. In other words, they pick it up, they look at it like, nope, not a gold nugget, throw it away. True? Now, I imagine, I mean, I didn't live during these times, and I certainly don't know anybody who did, but I imagine that if they got one gold nugget every day, that person was probably pretty rich. True story? Now, how many rocks do you think they threw out of that sifter, I think is what it's called. But how many rocks do you think they threw out of there? Hundreds.
A lot.
Hundreds and hundreds in order to find one gold nugget. And one a day was extremely rare, right? I mean, one a week was probably good. I mean, they danced, they had a party. I found a nugget. Yay. and this is what I was thinking of, Paige, when you were sharing your story, because this person was not nice to you, right? They were, not receptive. They're unrealistic. And as real estate agents, sometimes we get mad because we're finding rocks when we're looking for gold nuggets. We're getting mad at the rocks because they're not a gold nugget. Stop getting mad at the rocks and just find one gold nugget today. It's not their fault they're a jerk. They're just that way. And why are you letting it affect you? That would be like that same guy that's sifting for gold nuggets, getting mad at the rocks. You're not a gold nugget, I'm mad. Ridiculous, right? Yes. Quit getting mad at the rocks and just find a gold nugget.
Yeah, I think it's so true, because I think, and we had this, and you've said it before, and they said it in the shift also, that we're in the service business, we're not in the sales business. And all we're trying to do is kind of help marry people that are either looking or to buy or to sell, and help them with their dream, whatever that dream is, and look at life and phone calls that way, as opposed to saying, I'm trying to sell a house.
Yeah. There you go.
Or sell you to use me.
There you go.
And some of that, as you said, that sincerity comes through that way, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that's truly the way you feel, then you don't have to worry about acting that way. You just are that way.
Exactly.
So Good work, everybody. Okay, time to get to work. What's work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17 conversations, because when we have 17 conversations, we didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that we didn't get because we didn't have the conversation. Make care calls, not sales calls. Always lead with gratitude. Bring value to every single conversation. Focus on getting an appointment, getting a referral, adding somebody to your database, and building relationships. Find somebody today that's thinking of selling their home, whether it's next week, 30 days from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, doesn't matter, because you're looking for opportunity, period, not opportunity right now. Meet with someone today that is thinking of selling their home. Then over the next 12 months, you will have met with 250 people that you're following up with forever, because you reject rejection, and no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember that people will never change their mind, but what they will do is make a new decision based on new information. And when you follow up forever, you're creating an emotional proximity, which means they're going to hire the person who's closest to you, Paige, when it comes time to sell their home. And when they make that new decision, the new decision will be to hire you. All right. Make it a great day, everybody. To everybody who's in the Coral Springs Market Center, I know you guys are going to jump right into that training room and practice and role play your scripts. To everybody else, I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., both live in Coral Springs and via digital computer on Zoom. Make it a great day.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.